if you're black or white.
So see, if you're just waking up and you're hearing this, you're going, I feel good. I'm getting pumped for the day, right?
And if you're here, you're seeing me do a bad Michael Jackson impersonation.
No, do it again. Come on, do it. Oh wow, you got the arm moves.
I pulled my pectoral doing that.
Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, this is Home Wizards. Thanks for being with us this morning. This is our new time, 8 to 10 in the morning, as we love to help improve your home and improve your life, and we think it's a good deal.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. It's fun to come in early and get a start on the day.
It sure is. And now they're all pumped up over the whole monarch
I'm
butterfly
crazy
garden.
about these butterflies. I'm telling you, I'm going to call him and I'm going to get like 50 of these plants
because
I just love the butterflies. Yeah,
it's such a fun process, and your kids are going to love just taking photos of the whole thing.
I just hope those floaty things get out of the studio by next week because I think I might have a chest infection.
Well, all right. So let's talk about colors that are all around us. We were talking about this beautiful. That beautiful flower, the purple flower.
Right.
But when I was driving to Las Vegas last week for the Consumer Electronics Show, I saw a lot of these cars that are like a burnt orange. Have you been seeing a lot of those?
Yeah, I have. Is that the new trend or is that an old one?
This?
Okay, take it.
Taking it. It is not a coincidence. This tangerine burnt orange is a Pantone trend-setting color that's supposed to be the it color for 2012 in the spring. You're seeing it in clothes, but it's not pure orange. It's not like light orange. It's kind of a burnt, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, now, just so you know,
mm-hmm.
To me it's so yesterday, and I'll tell you why. I bought a burnt orange outdoor couch about 5 years ago.
Well, they rotate around.
People thought I was crazy.
See?
But look at me now.
Do you proof? Do you get photographic proof?
I do.
Do you have the receipts to show that you have?
No, I think it's really interesting. It offsets great with nature too. For example, that orange and then the foliage of green. It's beautiful. Or blue.
Or exactly, like silvery green with oil. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that tangerine is not a coincidence, and you see it in cars, and you see it in clothing, and so we want to talk about color trends and how to infuse them in your home and what to be looking for. So look for that kind of tangerine burnt orange. And I say this just as we got rid of our orange kitchen.
Can you believe how that works?
But that was not this kind of orange.
No, this is a whole different color.
That was a different kind of orange, I guess.
It actually was. It looked yours was more like Cheetos.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, if you go to CindyKitchenProject.com, you'll see the latest video. We just shot the reveal video, and that's going to be coming your way in a couple weeks. It looks pretty darn cool. So
it's awful nice, I'll tell you. I'm so proud of that kitchen for you. Love it.
Speaking of earth tones, that is another huge color. All the paint companies, all the trendsetters from Benjamin Moore to Sherwin-Williams, Behr Paint, they all have this palette of kind of like a taupey brown and then a deep brown and then almost like a silver, kind of a granite rock shade. And you're seeing that in clothing for the spring.
Right. And then, for our listeners, let's tell these guys about this whole Pantone thing. It's this collective of colors that exist in nature, and every year they vote on this in terms of trends and fashion, and everybody in that world sees it start to emerge in different things, from shoes to handbags to cars to whatever it is, and then that becomes
to blenders and toasters.
Yeah, right. And that kind of becomes the hot color.
Well, it's kind of a cool job. I mean, they traveled the world.
They're almost like international color fancy spy experts.
They're color spies. Yeah. And they're there behind the newspaper looking at you in a trench coat going, oh,
I see.
That's
He's
what Eric's
wearing
doing.
Brown socks again. And that's all.
So it's going to be a hot color.
That's right.
But the Pantone people, I mean, they've been around for decades, and so they all kind of take a cue or a hue from each other.
Uh-huh.
So Tangerine Tango, that's the official name that the Pantone people are calling it in terms of the orange.
And then after that, the Pantone people name the color, and then the paint companies all decide their own color, much like we were talking about with David with how we call what we call new things, right?
They all do their own trend research, and they all have their own, in fact, color specialists, so they all want to be the deciding trend company.
Right.
But they're all kind of looking over their shoulder and saying,
so
you'll see when you go to all these different paint company websites, they all kind of have some of the similar shades. Now, Benjamin Moore, their big color that they had said that was going to be huge, and is going to be huge for 2012, you're wearing kind of part of it now, Wyeth Blue, that shade of, you're wearing a nice striped shirt.
Are we referring to Andrew Wyeth, the artist? Maybe they're taking from some of his color palettes.
It's classic. It's very soothing, and it has a little bit of a silver and a blue with a green in it. If you can imagine all that combined.
You're welcome.
What?
Because I'm wearing that color.
You are. Wyeth blue, but it's the reason why it's kind of like this. It evokes the sea and the sky,
it does.
And it's great for a dining room or a living room or a bedroom, and it's calming.
Actually it is a great dining room color because it offsets with any kind of stainless
browns,
anything.
silvers,
yeah, it's beautiful.
Anything. So that is a hot color. Another big one, cabaret pink. Now, the Pantone people last year said that the it color for last year was going to be something called honeysuckle, and that was a shade of pink. Think Barbie with a little bit of a reddish tone.
Barbie
infused.
meets Angeline's Corvette.
Exactly.
There you go.
And with a little bit deeper shade. Yeah.
Right.
Wait a minute. We have that photo of you.
We do.
Trying
Let's
to get
put it
into
on.
Angeline's.
I tried to break into Angeline's car. I'll admit.
I mean, everyone has an Angeline sighting.
That's right.
Not Angeline Jolie, but
I've never seen her, just her car.
But the car, and there it was sitting somewhere in Hollywood, and it wasn't far from Sunset.
That was the day I was taken to the jail. No, I'm kidding.
Well, so the other color is called cabaret, and it looks like it's an even deeper shade of pink. It almost has an orange element to it.
Do you think last year's pink took off? I don't really think it did. I didn't see it much. So this one I have hope for.
This one feels a little more usable as accessories like pillows and throw rugs and things like that. Margarita green. Now, again, it kind of, when you hear the name Margarita,
I'm sorry, you said, I just perked up a little bit.
We mentioned a cocktail at an early time. Home Wizards, we're cocktail friendly, no matter what hour.
That's right.
But Margarita green, you think of a citrusy yellow lime.
Yes, kind of with a frosty, overtone of the ice that's crushed and so delicious that makes it so tangy and potent, if you will.
Well, we're going to be getting to the chips and the dips
How
a little
about,
bit later.
You want to go there? Let's do Mexican today for lunchtime. No,
okay,
anyway,
sure.
I digress. Here we go.
But the margarita green, and you're seeing this a lot in clothing and in just things around the home, like when you go to the big box stores or Target or whatever, you see these neon yellows and neon greens, toys. Have you noticed?
You're right, I have.
It's like, what is that? And it almost...
I've also seen raincoats that color, a lot of slickers in that tone.
And I think, and a lot of tops, t-shirts, things like that, I think that people want to have that infusion of pop, that almost neon, kind of takes you back like to the 60s.
So, it really isn't a coincidence that these colors show up.
No.
They are researched
like
crazy. It really kind of is.
It's kind of, it's like, like, you will
have,
buy this bright neon green.
Yeah.
When you see it enough, you feel like you got to have it.
I know. You're right.
So, yellow is another one, and yellow was always great, but this year's yellow has a little bit of kind of like an orange yellow to it. Think of the crayons. Remember the crayon that wasn't the pale yellow?
The Crayola one.
The Crayola
The one between the two yellows. Is that what you mean?
That's
I know
the
what
one.
you're talking
you
about.
Can picture it, can't you?
Yep.
And then another one is a shade of purple. We were talking about this beautiful purple flower to get. This is called sweet lilac, but there's also a bellflower. So two different kinds of purples. The sweet lilac is kind of lavender-esque, but has a little bit more pumped up, a little more pinkish in there.
Oh.
And then the bellflower is almost like if you were to blend the cobalt blue with a little bit of purple in there.
Oh.
And you're seeing a lot of that.
You're right.
In clothing, too.
That's it.
And I haven't seen that in cars, I guess I have seen some unusual looking bluish shades of vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's a big commitment to go ahead and pick that color for a car, isn't it? Because you got to do that.
It's a statement.
At least 3 years you're going to have that color.
Yeah. It is. You have to have, it's confidence, right?
That's it.
It's bold.
Yeah.
Go out there and be furious, right? Why not? No one's going to cut in front of you
when
you have that
me.
kind of car.
What's the Soda Light blue?
The Soda Light blue is, think of kind of like a steel blue. So it's got almost like if you were to mix brown in with blue, with a little bit of silver. It's deep and it's not as greenish. It kind of skews navy.
It'd be nice with that, a crisp white trim and a lovely dining room wall. That'd be pretty, wouldn't it?
It would almost look like a man's suit, like a flannel jacket. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, man, like a navy blazer almost.
Like a navy blazer.
Yeah. I like it.
So those are some of the hot colors to be at least considering. And it's interesting when you do go to some of the different paint companies' websites. So, for instance, if you go to the Benjamin Moore website, they kind of guide you through not only with these hot colors, but then how they blend together, how you can have a complementary color with them.
Yeah, because I think people get intimidated by the new colors. What do you do for trim? How do you merge all these things together, right?
And I think, too, if you're looking at this Tangerine Tango or the Margarita or the Wyeth Blue or Cabaret Pink or any of these others, go to Pantone.com and you'll see what we're talking about, the sampling of them, and go to all the different paint store websites. And now, after you've had a sense of looking at them, try one or two, because doesn't that make your world feel better? It does for me to try a new color.
Well,
somehow.
Also, it's a great project. For example, today, if you're inspired, go out, find one of these things, go out, get 2 gallons of paint, and just paint your living room. And it'll take you about 5 hours, and you'll be done. And you'll have one of these fancy new colors.
But before you buy the paint, coming up next, we're going to talk about how and why you should know about the paint wheel, the color wheel, if you will. And you've done this a lot in your projects, haven't you?
Yeah. I've helped out folks with colors for years.
So there's a difference between the colors that are side by side on the wheel, or colors that are directly across from each other on the wheel, and both will work.
They'll both work.
They both work.
And then again, it does get down to personal taste.
It does.
You have to, sometimes the pundits must go away and you have to just say, you know what, I like this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and we're open to all that.
Yeah.
But we're just trying to give you some help, because that's what we're doing.
That's
here.
what we do here.
Home Wizards in our new time, Saturday mornings now, 8 to 10 in the morning. So as you're sipping on that coffee, having a cup of tea, getting ready to run some errands, or maybe you're already out and about, thanks for hanging with us. We have more fun to help improve your home and improve your life. The color wheel and how to fix and get the right colors going to brighten your world at home.
Can't wait. Yeah.
Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole. More after this on KFWB News Talk 90.
I'm getting more coffee. Here I go. 1979.
I had to do it.
I'm in a long green army coat with a pair of nunchucks, smelling like patchouli oil. That's what this song reminds me of.
I had to do it because we're talking about the color wheel, right? Yeah. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole. This is Home Wizards. Good morning, and this is our new time here to wake up with you and help you get ready to make the place you call home a little better.
Yeah.
Home Wizards is what we call it.
This color wheel thing is interesting because, again, I think folks get overwhelmed with the amount of choices. You go to a big box store, for example, you see a wall of color possibilities.
And there's 7 million different possibilities.
Right. And then trend shows up, and then magazines, and everybody tells you you're supposed to do this, that, and the other.
And then the right hue of the right color.
And you put it on the wall, and what happens?
And
oh, my
like,
God, I've made a mistake.
And then after you finally pick that one blue, let's say, that you want, then what's the complementary color that you want to do? Do you want complementary?
Do you want trim
blah.
to be crisp or more almondish? What do you do? I don't know.
I think I'm exhausted already.
I got to go home.
I'm done. Well, the color wheel, everyone can picture the color wheel, right? How would you describe the color wheel? It's like a rainbow. It's a happy little rainbow.
It's a happy little rainbow, and it's divided into pie shapes.
And it starts with, I guess yellow, kind of at noon, if you will.
Yeah.
Yellow to green is around the noon position, and then 1 o'clock is a deeper green, and then around 2 to 3 o'clock is different, brighter shades of blue, going all the way down to 4 to 5 o'clock. Then it's to purple, and then to deep purple to pink red around, I guess around 7 o'clock you got the red, and then you got the 8 o'clock around the burnt orange, and then it comes back to like mustard around 9, 10, and then back to midnight at 11, and it's a yellow and green again. So it's that kind of a thing, if that helps you visualize it.
And that's how they lay out fan decks, when you get something from the paint store.
Yeah.
It's also in this configuration. It's a universal way to kind of recognize color.
Now, when you've worked with clients in construction land, did you go to your customers and say, okay, here's the wheel. This is why we're going to go with this color?
Well, what I try to do is limit the amount of possibilities a little bit because, again, it's overwhelming. So I often told clients to grab some tear sheets, find some references to art that you're fond of, what inspires you in your own home, and then when they bring the tear sheets in, generally there'll be contemporary magazines on the newsstand that have colors that we talked about in our last segment that are sort of popular at that moment, and then you kind of average it out that way, and you realize what makes me feel calm in this room, or what makes me feel energized if it's an office, or how will my kids sleep better in this room. You don't want to paint a kid's room bright orange or like a McDonald's or something, because they'll never go to bed. And
they're going to have a lot more junk food. Just the diet goes downhill.
Oh, you don't even want to know.
But so you need to first figure out, when you look at this color wheel, that there's a few different ways to go, right? There's the primary colors. You've got the red, the blue, and the yellow.
Right.
Then you've got the secondary colors, the orange, green, and the purple. And then you have to figure out, well, then there's the mixes of those secondary colors, red, orange, blue, green. And again, it starts to feeling, whoa, my head is spinning.
And then, as you get a fan deck from a paint company, for example, you'll see it goes from a deeper shade down to a lighter shade. So within that card, generally, they'll give you suggestions of paints that would work together. For example,
a palette, if you will.
You have a wainscot scenario where you do the lower half darker and the upper half lighter. So the lower, darker color would be further down the card, and then the lighter one would be further up the card. And those will reference and work together. And then a lot of the manufacturers have brochures now. They give you great combinations of potential colors, and the websites of the paint companies all do the same service.
And the apps. I mean, they all really do a great job of dumbing it down for us. Thank goodness.
Right.
But let's talk about, now that you are kind of familiarizing yourself with the color wheel, which, by the way, you can buy when you go out to any kind of a paint store or home improvement store, and it's kind of fun to have that in your style file that you keep at home.
Right.
And it kind of comes in handy to go back and look at what you have in that room that you're focusing on and want to improve. And so, for instance,
to your point, the style file. What I love about that whole concept?
What's that?
It almost manifests your ultimate design, because you're being influenced by things that you initially are attracted to. You put them in the folder.
And it tells a story.
You go back to that folder in a year after you've done work, and you realize, oh my goodness, this thing totally dictated where I went. And I think it's a really powerful tool for manifesting design.
And it's no coincidence, after you start to collect these pictures, if you will, whether you are ripping them from magazines or printing them out from the computer, or even just taking pictures with your phone, you start to see a theme show up. There's some consistent choices.
Right.
Why am I always picking black? Why am I always picking
Because
blue?
I'm a Wicca.
But sweet.
Yes.
Sweet.
A nice witch, if you will. A friendly witch.
You mean no harm. But let's talk about the complementary colors, because it is helpful to know, after you're looking at this color wheel, whether you're going with a color at the very top of the wheel and then it's all the way across, like from 12 to 6 on the clock. If those colors are going to be good bets.
Right.
So, for instance, red and green. Red and green. When you have red and green, the red tones of, like, the mahogany in your cabinetry will go well with maybe a softer, almost a sage green paint.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, you're talking about almost like an oxblood tone on cabinets, and then sage down on the cabinets. That'd be beautiful. Yeah.
Or red-orange with blue-green. So you're kind of thinking here, maybe it's you have a main color and then the other as an accent in a room. So, for instance, let's say if you did have that red-orange, almost like that color we were talking about from Pantone. That burnt orange, you could have that maybe as a towel, as a pop of color, or a pillow in a room, and then that's against maybe something cooler, maybe a blue-green wall or a blue-green sofa. Let's say you had a blue-green sofa, and then you had that bright burnt orange as some pillows.
That's it.
And a throw rug and a blanket, and then now, boom, done.
I love that pop of color, because that does happen when you have a nice neutral field on the walls, and then you bring in these accent situations like towels or pottery or something. It just shouts. It says, "Look at me, doggone it! I'm a pop of color."
And another great way to do this is, after you get your color wheel and you're kind of figuring out, okay, I like the colors that are complementary across from each other, or maybe side by side.
Right.
Take that with you to restaurants or hotels. When I was just in Vegas last week, I noticed quite a bit from some of the restaurants we were in. And it's no coincidence there. I mean, they spent a lot of money.
Well,
the decorations
and what you're talking about is it's R&D, it's research and development. Like, again, what are the hot colors? This restaurant has to speak to the masses in an international situation. What's going to attract people and make them feel soothed and comfortable in a room.
And stay there longer and spend money and all that.
Right. And there's no coincidence why fast food restaurants have vibrant colors that say get out. Get out as soon as you buy the fries.
Hurry up.
Now
and
get
leave.
out.
Yeah. So that's a good thing to do, is to try to go to some of those places, go to a resort or go to some of these, next time you're out to have a good meal, over the weekend perhaps.
Right.
Take your camera and take some photos of why you like how that color feels, and then you've got your color wheel, and then you can kind of build your own complementary palette.
Right. It's an arsenal color.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel about yellow and blue? That's another fun combination, or even a shade of yellow with kind of a shade of purple. I think.
Well, I love this, and again, this color that you're talking about, this deep sort of purple tone.
Yeah.
It's great because it doesn't feel like traditional purple that you would think. It almost feels a little more opaque, and it does
kind of periwinkle in a way.
Yes.
In a deeper, yeah.
God, I love it when you say periwinkle.
Okay. But when you mix that with yellow,
it works together.
It really does.
Don't think Minnesota Vikings.
I was going to say, we do later on in the show, we are going to talk about that super game. And, I guess when you look at the team's uniforms.
Yeah, that does happen occasionally. All of a sudden, some clients will come to me and say, we want to do this dark, this navy and the white. And I'm like, oh my God, it looks like the Chicago Bears.
Have a good time with that, right?
Right.
Yeah, you have to kind of be careful about that.
But again, I think to your point, it's really important to kind of find your own sense of design and style through what you respond to.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are French Impressionist fans. It's a softer palette. It's more, less vivid. And then the modern art folks have these vibrant tones. So kind of find out where your art center is, I think, and that always brings you to the right choice.
And then
I
think with the paint wheel, that'll help you kind of narrow, or the color wheel, it really narrows your choices to see how the colors are going to look together before you roll them out, and the hues that are either, again, side by side, like yellow and green, or complementary,
right.
Opposite sides of the wheel.
And, a lot of the manufacturers of paint are now giving you small test cans. And I cannot urge the importance
Those are called niblets.
Put the niblets on the wall, let them sit there for a day, and really understand how that would make you feel in a large scenario. And I think before you pull the trigger, if you do that, you're smart.
Right now, we are so loving this bitter chocolate paint that we have as an accent color in our extension, the living room just beyond the kitchen.
Is that why I never want to leave that room when I come to your house? I'm basically sleeping there.
Yeah, you're eating chocolate and you're surrounded by chocolate.
And then I pass out from a sugar high.
And then it's kind of it's mixed up with some taupe paint.
Ooh.
So it's kind of fun. Ooh.
It is.
All right, well, when we come back, as we work our way into the second hour, we're going to get you all set for that big game that's coming up in a couple of weeks. We have some ideas to make your party, when you have everyone come over, the talk of the town. Some fun things to do to decorate the place, to make it a fun happening scene, and also some fun things, some treats to serve.
Right, and hopefully by then you'll have painted the room.
Yeah, and then you also have some great ideas for us for bathroom lighting. We don't think about bathroom lighting
No, we
enough.
don't, but boy, is it important. You ever been to a cosmetic counter? Say no more.
Well, I heard you with
well.
your visit to Costco recently with that magnifying mirror and the light.
Hello, pores. Yeah.
Well, coming up, we're continuing to have some more fun here to help improve your home and improve your life. Our new time, Saturday mornings, 8 to 10. Working our way into second hour. Eric Stromer and Cindy Dole. Don't you go away. We're just getting kicked up a notch. Take it away for us.
I'm a brick house.
Just letting it all hang out. I see that bread. Ow. I like lady stack.